The news at noon starts right now.
New at noon, a man will spend the next few decades of his life in jail for ending his ex-girlfriends with a knife.
He pled guilty in the case from 2020, and that's when Michael Gonzalez was charged with stabbing and killing 27-year-old Miranda Malowski. This came after witnesses saw Malowski jump out of a moving vehicle in the 3800 block of Kyrie Trail. Malowski was found with multiple stab wounds and died at the scene. Witnesses gave deputies the description of the car, which deputies found crashed. Deputies eventually found Gonzalez hiding in a West Side home. Later this afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott set to sign border security legislation into law. The border security measures that were approved by the Texas Senate include Senate Bill 2. It creates a new state crime for entering Texas illegally and allows law enforcement to arrest all people who cross the border illegally anywhere in the state. Senate Bill 8 creates the Texas Border Force in the Texas Rangers Division of DPS. House Bill 2 provides mandatory minimum sentences for the operation of stash houses and human smuggling. The measure also increases penalties for these crimes committed during a disaster declaration. The governor will sign the legislation at 1 o'clock this afternoon at the Texas Capitol. You can watch a live stream of that press conference on KSAT12. Outside with live cam, once again, there is some rain on the Authority radar. Seems like we're in a really good pattern these days. Like this.
It's been nice. We're going to see another day in which the radar is going to get fairly active, I think, as we head into the afternoon. Live cam right now is showing just a few clouds here at the airport, but most of the activity is still well north of San Antonio, at least at this hour. Let me show you the rain and the storms here on Authority radar. It's up there in Gillespie County. These are working their way south and east, and some of these storms are packing a punch. They're not severe, but some gusty winds and some small hail, certainly possible. We know there's some lightning with these storms as well. So if you're watching us from Fredericksburg this afternoon, you are hearing the thunder, and those storms are right on your doorstep. And where you see some of those darker colors there, especially when you get into the black, that's when we know there's probably some small hail that is going to mix in here with these stronger storms as they work off to the south and east. Those are the two cells we have right now in our viewing area. But I think we'll see a little bit more activity as the day wears on and as we head into the afternoon hours. So this is what we'll be watching. Well, let me show you the bigger picture here. And you'll notice with the satellite picture, we've got clouds starting to build too. So it's in this area right here where we're going to watch for some development here for the next hour or two. And the way the storms are moving, it's kind of this corridor here as these storms may bunch together that we'll watch even into the afternoon. And that does include parts of San Antonio. There is a severe risk today too. I don't think we're going to see a lot of severe weather, but hail and gusty winds would be the main threats. There could be some storms that contain some heavy rain as well. All things that we're watching. Here's your forecast as you plan out your day. 91 at 3 o'clock, 30% chance of storms here in San Antonio. We'll keep that going through about 7 o'clock before these storms start to wind down, and then lower rain chances tonight. After today, our rain chances really do go down and the heat really cranks up. We'll look at that 7-day forecast for you, and we'll have another glance at the radar here in just a few minutes, guys.
All right, Justin, look forward to that. Thank you. 2 people shot and killed a man on the west side last night, and they are still on the run. That is according to San Antonio police. SAPD says a man was taken to the hospital in critical condition after he was shot during an argument. It happened just before 9 last night in the 1800 block of West Laurel Street near North Calaveras and North Zarzamora. Witnesses told police the man was arguing with 2 people in the street when someone pulled out a gun and shot that man in the chest. San Antonio police say the man died on his way to the hospital. No arrests have been made.
9 shootings in just 6 days, and San Antonio police believe the victims in at least 4 of those shootings were targets. One of the shootings frightening shoppers at North Star Mall on Sunday when suspects killed a victim in cold blood while he was getting a haircut at the mall. But on Friday, a drive-by shooting killed a 16-year-old and hospitalized 3 others, including a 5-year-old. In all the aftermath, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg and Police Chief William McManus calling for gun control. Meanwhile, the push for legislation federally and statewide continues in Austin and Washington, D.C.
This is a challenge being faced all across the country. What's unique here in Texas and some other states as well is the legislature making it easier for these weapons to be all over our streets and getting in the wrong hands.
I understand some people want assault weapons bans and some people don't want to talk about it at all. I'm of the mindset of what can we do to make sure we protect the Constitution as well as keep our kids safe in school.
U.S. House lawmaker Tony Gonzalez telling us that he is working with the mayor to secure federal funding for additional resources. Meanwhile, the mayor says the city's violent crime prevention plan is showing promising signs. He says rates of violent crimes are dropping both citywide and in hotspots, according to UTSA data.
San Antonio's 2023 election isn't over yet. Runoffs in Districts 1 and 7 happening this weekend. However, one councilman is already hinting at a mayoral run in 2025. District 8 Councilman Manny Pelaez sworn in for his fourth and final term this week. He sent an email from his campaign Wednesday saying many people had asked if he planned to run for mayor. He said he wanted to have a conversation with constituents and included a survey on 4 campaign issues. The North Side councilman is one of several current council members rumored to be eyeing a run when Mayor Ron Nirenberg reaches his term limit in 2 years.
In a surprise ruling, a big win for supporters of new voting maps in Alabama. The Supreme Court ordering Alabama to redraw those maps. It was a 5-4 majority with the Supreme Court that decided the state's congressional maps did likely discriminate against black voters. Alabama officials must redraw the maps, allowing an additional black majority district because the state is 27% black. This decision may give more opportunities for minority voters to elect the candidate of their choice.
First-time jobless claims last week jumped to the highest level since October of 2021. According to data released today by the Labor Department, 261,000 unemployment claims were filed last week. That is an increase of 28,000 claims from the week before. It's also way more than economists were expecting. Weekly jobless claims have been going up recently, a hint of some softening in the U.S. labor market. However, first-time claims still remain below historical averages.
The nation's been talking all week about the air quality emergency going on in the Northeast. And take a look at this. You can actually see the air getting thicker, that smog and smoke in the air getting thicker right there in New York City.
This time-lapse video shows that smoky air taking over the skyline. At one point, New York City had the worst air quality in the entire world.
And this is all coming as wildfires in Canada, where thousands have been evacuated from their homes, is filtering in here.
ABC's Rena Roy reports that smoke isn't just affecting the air, it's now affecting some people's travel plans.
The iconic New York City skyline going from normal to smoky.
It smelled like a tire was like a burning tire.
On the air quality index scaled from 1 to 500, where above 150 is considered unhealthy, the mayor said at one point New York City hit 484 or hazardous. Shanghai, China was around 125.
Very, very scary just walking down the street and feeling like I'm going to have an asthma attack.
And now the FAA issuing a pause in flights from the Northeast, Ohio, and Mid-Atlantic bound for LaGuardia Airport due to low visibility. Dangerous air quality advisories in effect for more than 100 million Americans in at least 20 states from St. Louis to Boston.
I've been coughing a lot.
Washington, D.C. issuing a code purple air quality alert, one level below the most severe air quality warning. The National Zoo shut down. Some outdoor activities for children canceled. Experts urging everyone to stay inside or wear a high-quality mask when going out. All of this from extreme wildfires in Canada, where thousands have been evacuated from their homes.
A box of masks that I had to take out, and it's these KN95s and N95s that are really helpful, that are going to filter out some of those smoke particles.
If you don't have air conditioning and you're using, isolated fans, put them all on, because just circulating air, when you talk to aerosol scientists, that will help as well.
Experts say breathing in this kind of smoke for a day is like continuously smoking half a pack of cigarettes or more. So again, staying indoors is best. Things are expected to improve by Friday and over the weekend, when the winds will likely switch and blow smoke away from the U.S. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And very quickly, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now that we do have to pass along. This is in Gillespie County. That's Fredericksburg there. There is the warning. This is going to go until 12:45 this afternoon for this storm here. And it's right in that corridor right there where you see some of the purples and blacks, likely where we're getting some quarter-size hail, and that's why this warning has been issued. So where is this storm headed? It's moving southeast at about 20 miles per hour. Places in the path of this storm include Stonewall, about 12:35. It should make it to Johnson City about 1:12 this afternoon. This is just one of several storms, I think, that are going to pop up, and the threat for severe weather is there today. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We've got more with your authority radar coming up in just a few minutes. David.
All right, Justin, thank you. Looks like you could have a busy afternoon. The Denver Nuggets halfway to mining that championship. Another historic night in Miami coming up in sports.
Hundreds of volunteers today jumping in on a special day of giving. How these efforts are going to help feed thousands of people.
Happening today, H-E-B hosting its 38th annual Tournament of Champions event.
It is a citywide event where more than 1,800 people come together and volunteer community services for 4 different nonprofits.
Alyssa Cole takes us to one of the volunteer sites, which will fill thousands of empty tummies.
Lately, we've all been feeling the pain of inflation in our wallets and seeing it on our grocery bills.
The food stamps, they went down on us, and, we got to hustle, for it.
But today, more than 300 H-E-B partner volunteers are working at the San Antonio Food Bank to help fill the gap of food insecurity.
We're actually at 500 families that are coming through the food distribution lines that will be filling up their cards with products, fresh produce, protein, and other items.
The community service event is part of the H-E-B's annual Tournament of Champions event, where more than 1,800 people volunteer throughout the day at 4 different nonprofit sites across the city.
It started in 1986, and I believe it's raised $159 million since its inception.
This woman heard about the event, and she's using it as an opportunity to help others.
I'm picking up for a single woman with 4 kids. I'm picking up for a couple of senior citizens who are unable to come out. I'm also picking up for a couple of people who have epilepsy who are unable to drive.
As each vehicle gets filled with food, people say they're grateful.
I don't even see it as giving back. It's just what we do here in San Antonio.
Volunteers will distribute more than 54,000 meals, boxes, and bags of food by the end of the day. Alyssa Cole, KSAT12 News.
Taking a look outside with live cam, it looks absolutely beautiful here in downtown San Antonio. This is a look at the airport, but if the camera were to swing to the northwest, I bet there are some dark clouds out that way.
Yeah, if you look out in the distance there, you can see some clouds starting to bubble up, and these storms are really starting to gain some strength there in the hill country, namely around Fredericksburg. We're going to show you that radar coming up right after the break, as we do have a severe thunderstorm warning still going for Gillespie County. The aquifer is down 0.2 of a foot to 647.6, and your pollen count, molds are low. They're at 330. That radar update coming up, plus your forecast and a hot weekend right after the break.
Shaping up to be a very interesting afternoon.
Yeah, we need to get right to the radar because things are happening.
Yeah, we're starting to see these storms really develop and take shape, and we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in Gillespie County. So let's get right to authority radar. By the way, Storm Prediction Center just let us know that there may be a watch coming down soon. We're not sure exactly which counties will be involved, but as soon as that happens, we'll let you know. In general, it's this corridor here where you see these storms starting to develop kind of in a cluster as they move south and east at a pretty good clip. These are the ones that possibly could produce some very strong winds and some hail too. We've seen that, and that's why we have our warning here in Gillespie County. So let's get right to it. And I'll show you where that strongest storm is. It is north and east of Fredericksburg. So it's not affecting the city of Fredericksburg, but you are getting some rain, lightning and thunder for sure. And there's another strong storm just to the south and west of Fredericksburg. So it's kind of splitting the town there. Let me pause this and we'll put the warnings on. And I'll show you that we have this one warning here, and this is going to go until 12:45 this afternoon. This storm is moving southeast at about 20 miles per hour, and we can put another track on it here as it again is moving along, and it's moving right in that direction, and that would put it through Albert at about 12:37, and then it would be on Blanco's doorstep at about 1:12. Likely bring some heavy rain and maybe some gusty winds as it does. This whole cluster, though, again, kind of moving together, and I think these storms will more or less kind of come together into just an area of storms that will track southeast across the area. I want to zoom in a little bit closer on this severe storm, and where you see some of these purple colors, that's where we're likely seeing some of that small hail. And what we can do here is put on the threats and take a look at what some of those threats may be. So that purple color there, we could be looking at 1.5 inch hail, which again, up to quarter-size hail, which is prompting that warning there just to the north and east of Fredericksburg. And that's right along Highway 16, by the way, if you're watching us there in Gillespie County. Okay, we'll clear this, get it back on radar, and we'll go back to the wide view here. And I'll show you that these storms are still well north of San Antonio. But we're starting to see a little bit new development there in Blanco County, and we could see some development out ahead of this, again, as it moves south and east. And we'll be watching this throughout the afternoon for you. And, of course, the KSAT weather app, very handy if you want to take a look at that. We'll be sending out updates or going live if we need to with any of these warnings a little bit later today. Here it is with the satellite picture. And I mentioned, we had some clouds out ahead of this, and we're noticing some development here on the west flank of this as well, which could work towards Kerrville. I want to watch that area too. But this is a little disturbance that is working in the flow aloft out of the north and west. And the situation is such that we could see some stronger storms today just because of the way the upper flow is setting up. And this is that corridor that I think we need to watch for any potential strong storms. And the Storm Prediction Center does have this area in a scattered risk for severe weather today on a scale of 1 to 5, about a 2. And then San Antonio is more in that isolated range, but we're still within the threat for some stronger storms today. Wind and hail, your main issues here. There could be some storms with some heavy rain, but I don't think we're going to see just a lot of flooding out of this. So your KSAT 12-hour forecast, 30% chance of rain throughout the afternoon. Temperatures, in theory, are going to make their way up into the 90s. Now, the rain could cool things down a little bit, but it is still going to be a hot, humid day. And then tonight, temperatures fall back down into the 70s. There's a live look outside very quickly. 87, dew point is at 68. It is humid. And as we look long range here, I want to fit this in very quick at the end. High pressure starts to build in, and we're going to be dealing with some big time heat as we get into next week. Temperatures, unfortunately, had put this in there near 100 by Wednesday of next week. But in the meantime, we're going to be watching for those storms, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the authority radar here over the next couple of hours. Guys.
Thank you, Justin.
Veteran point guard Chris Paul could be on the trade or free agent market sometime soon, and Wimby mania already hitting the streets of San Antonio.
Welcome back. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that we need to pass along now for Kendall County, southern parts of Gillespie County and Kendall County for this storm. That one we were showing you just south and west of Fredericksburg has now gone severe. Winds of 60 miles per hour up to quarter-size hail with this storm as it also moves southeast at about 20 miles per hour. It's right there, and you can see where we're seeing some of those darker colors, likely some hail mixed in there. And let's go ahead and put a storm track on this one as well so we can get you an idea of where this may be headed over the next, say, 30 minutes or so. And right there, it looks like this can make it to Lukenbach about 12:25 and Lindendale about 12:51. Actually, it's moving into Lukenbach right now. So that will be the next storm that we're watching. Again, these will make their way down a little bit closer to San Antonio over the next couple of hours. We're still watching, and we'll toss it over to Dave.
All right, Justin, get back to you in just a few minutes. In the meantime, the Denver Nuggets got home court back, and now they are halfway to a title. They won Game 3 of the NBA Finals at final score 109-94 last night. The first half, pretty close, 7 ties, 7 lead changes. Denver was up 53-48 at halftime. Then they pulled away in the third quarter. They went up by as many as 19. Christian Brown, superb off the bench, 15 points. But Nikola Jokic had another history-making performance, 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. He's the first player to have 30, 20, and 10 in a finals game. And after the game, his teammate Jamal Murray talked about how he and Jokic are learning to work together on the court.
I think it's just a feel and a trust that we're going to figure it out. And it's a lot of unselfishness, like I keep bringing that up. It's free flowing. If something's there, we go. If it's not, we don't force it. And, he makes tough shots look easy. And he's been doing it for a very long time, and I think the consistency doesn't get talked about enough.
Meanwhile, the Heat taking a look at what they can fix going into Game 4 tomorrow.
I feel like we just got to come out with more energy and effort, and that's correctable. That's on us as a group. No X's and O's can fix that. So, come out, dive on the floor, get loose balls, get defensive rebounds, and maybe, just maybe, it would have been a different game.
Game 4 set for tomorrow night, 7:30 in Miami. Once again, Nuggets lead the series 2-1. Hey, Chris Paul may not have a future with the Suns. That is according to several reports. The Woj from ESPN says they could waive Paul by June 28th, the guaranteed date on his contract, and they are looking at possibilities, including trade him. Paul's people say he wants to stay in Phoenix and play with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, but as usual, money will be a big factor. He would make $30 million this upcoming season. And we'll show you how there's Wemby mania all around the city coming up next half hour.
30 million.
30 million.
That's all I heard. All right, another warning about the new high-tech ways that criminals can take advantage of you. One woman sharing her story after she lost $14,000 to a scammer. We want to tell you about a voice scam that's on the rise, and it's thanks to artificial intelligence. A California grandmother says that she lost $14,000. She thought she was helping her grandson, but she wasn't. ABC's Andrew Dimbert explains why sympathy, pressure, and sadly old age making the scam successful.
You're watching a California grandmother hand over thousands of dollars after falling victim to a scam. 89-year-old Shirley got a call last week and saw her grandson's name on the caller ID. She picked up and heard a voice that she says sounded exactly like him, saying that he'd been in an accident.
And he said, "Grandma, I broke my nose."
The person on the line handed the phone to a person Shirley was told was her grandson's attorney, who told her her grandson had been arrested for hitting another car and injuring a pregnant woman.
Was, of course, very shook up.
That person telling Shirley if she paid more than $9,000 in cash, the charges would be dropped. Shirley went to the bank and got the cash and is seen on this video handing it over. Moments later, she received another call saying the pregnant woman's baby had died and that the charges were now more serious.
I was hysterical almost. I cried. This lady had lost a baby and that my grandson was going to be charged with murder.
The person on the line demanding an additional $5,000, which she also handed over. Shirley not realizing she was being fooled until she finally called her grandson.
I think it's absolutely shameful. They need to be caught because they're hurting so many, especially older people.
And that was ABC's Andrew Dimbert reporting. It could be a game changer for people needing a heart transplant. Researchers are optimistic about tapping into a potential new pool of heart donors, people whose hearts have stopped beating. Traditionally, the only people considered to be suitable donors were those declared brain dead, but their heart continued to function. Some doctors, like in the UK and Spain, are turning to donors whose hearts stopped beating after the withdrawal of life support. A new study detailed a clinical trial using this method with 180 patients. If the new method is widely adopted, the number of hearts available for transplant in the U.S. could increase by as much as 30%. More young adults are getting colorectal cancer, yet the factors driving that rise remain a mystery. However, a new study suggests dietary and environmental exposures may play a role. CNN's Mandy Gaither has a look at the research and what the study's senior author hopes people take from it.
We appear to be having some problems with that story. Meantime, a shortage of life-saving cancer drugs forcing oncologists and pharmacists to scramble for alternative treatments. A survey found that 93% of cancer centers across the country are reporting a shortage of the chemotherapy drug called carboplatin, and 70% reporting a similar shortage of the drug cisplatin. Those medications are used in combination to cure many types of cancer. The Food and Drug Administration said it will now work with a Chinese drug maker to import cisplatin to boost our U.S. supply.
Outside with live cams, still those storms developing northwest of San Antonio. Authority radar is really lighting up right now, Justin.
Yeah, we have those storms moving through Gillespie County, now starting to move into Kendall County. And we do want to pass along now, we have a new severe thunderstorm watch, meaning conditions are favorable for some stronger storms this afternoon, and that does include Bexar County. That's going to go until 7 p.m. tonight. So let's get right to Authority radar. I want to show you where the storms are right now. Still well north of San Antonio. So if you're watching us from town, we still have a couple of hours before these storms get a little bit closer. But if you're up around Fredericksburg, you've pretty much seen the storms move through, and now Kendall County is next in line to get some of these heavier storms and, in fact, some severe storms. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. And these storms really are starting to come together and more or less almost a line here working south and east at about 20 miles per hour. And it's the far western edge of this storm, which is really the strongest right there in parts of southern Gillespie County. I'll go ahead and pause it and I'll show you the warnings. First off, we have a warning for this storm, which is going to last just a little while longer until 12:45. But it's this storm that actually looks a little more robust now, and this is going to go until 1:15. And this warning does include Kendall County. I'll take the warnings off here, and I'm going to go ahead and take the lightning off too, so we can see these storms just a little bit better. But there is a lot of lightning, a lot of electricity with these storms. And where you see these darker colors, that's where we're likely seeing some of that quarter-size hail, maybe even a little bit larger, and that's why we do have warnings for these storms. And we can put on the threats graphic here, and where you see some of that white color there, that's likely some pretty sizable hail. Showing 3-inch plus hail. I don't know if it would be that big. That would be up to around tennis ball, maybe baseball, but I don't think it's going to be that large. I think that may be overestimating just a little bit. But we do know there's some large hail here, and we do definitely need to watch it. So let's get back to the radar. And once again, we'll show you these storms. Again, severe thunderstorm warning for this storm here, just south and east of Fredericksburg, and it's moving south and east. We can put a track on it here as it's moving at about 20 miles per hour to the south and east. And the strongest of the storm right about there, so that would put it near Lindendale at about 12:56, which is kind of what we were showing earlier. Let me get the western edge of this storm as well. We'll track that with our tracker here. And that would put this part of the storm near Grapetown at 12:45, Bankersmith about 12:48. Again, these are still well north of San Antonio, but we do need to watch them as they advance off to the south and east this afternoon. Here's a look at the satellite picture, and you can see we've got the clouds, and this does stretch kind of west. We're starting to see some development here, so we'll watch what happens on the western flank of this, which could impact San Antonio. But there's that severe thunderstorm watch. The threats today, hail and gusty winds, as we just showed you. There could be some heavy rain involved with some of these storms too. We'll continue to track these on the radar. We'll have an updated forecast for you too coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Hey, Justin, the U.S. will commit $148 million to fight ISIS. The money will go to the global coalition, which was created to tackle the terrorist organization. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made the announcement in Saudi Arabia today. The total funding goal for the 86-member coalition is just over $600 million. The money will go to stabilization efforts in Iraq and Syria, including security, humanitarian needs, and creating economic opportunities.
6 people, including 4 children, have been injured in a stabbing attack in southeastern France. Police say that the attacker is a man. He was armed with a knife. He was taken into custody shortly after the attack. French President Emmanuel Macron describing the attack as absolute cowardice. This morning, lawmakers in the French National Assembly observed 1 minute of silence for those who were injured.
Now to the new development in the investigation into Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. We are learning that the former president has received a letter from the special counsel informing him that he is a, quote, target of that investigation. The letter effectively puts Trump on notice that he faces the real prospect of indictment. Prosecutors have been investigating whether Trump illegally took classified documents from the White House and whether or not he obstructed the government's efforts to retrieve that material. The former president has maintained that he did nothing wrong.
If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
As the investigation moves forward, prosecutors have started interviewing some of Trump's closest allies. That includes his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows.
Pat Robertson, longtime TV host, beloved religious broadcaster, and one-time presidential candidate, dying in his home in Virginia Beach today. Robertson founded the Christian Broadcasting Network in 1960. He was 93 years old.
The fight over student loan debt continues in Washington. Why it may now be up to the Supreme Court to decide what happens. That's coming up next.